Hello again everyone and welcome back. This video is to follow on from the series of videos I did for my ebonized Beech and Sapele Urn, where I used a solution of vinegar and steel wool and a tannin solution to ebonize the beech parts of that urn. And since that video has been up, I've had a few questions regarding the tannin solution that I used to aid the ebonizing process. So this video is going to explain more about that. Before I go on to speak about my tannin solution, I'll speak briefly about the iron acetate solution, as in some cases this is all you'll need in order to ebonize in this way. The iron acetate solution is simply distilled malt vinegar with steel wool that has been dissolved in it. So by the time I was ready to ebonize my urn, I'd had steel wool in the vinegar for 4 days. It doesn't need to be that long. I was doing little test bits on oak, and the reaction was happening pretty much straight away with that. But the longer you leave the steel wool in there, the better concentrated solution you'll have of the iron acetate. And what this does is it reacts with the tannin that is in the wood to create a black colour. Some woods like oak, and usually darker and more exotic woods, already have a large level of tannin in them naturally, and so the iron acetate is all that you really need in order to create this reaction, and I'll show you that quickly now. If I brush just a small amount on this oak, you'll see almost immediately the reaction between the iron acetate and the tannin in the wood start to happen. In 5 minutes time, that will be a very deep black colour. No more than 5 minutes has passed now, and already you can see a really nice ebonized effect there. And again, you can leave that to dry and add another coat, and the more you do that, the deeper the black will go before adding your final coat. So something like oak, the iron acetate alone is enough. In some cases you'll need to add tannin to the wood yourself, and that's where the tannin solution comes in. Some people say that you can just use tea. If you let tea soak in water for a while, and tannins will naturally leak out of the tea. But I've seen mixed results with that on YouTube and reading about it online as well, that sometimes it's not as concentrated with the tannin as you'd like it to be in order to create a really deep black ebonized effect. And so as I researched more about it in preparing for this project, it was actually my brother that gave me an idea of something that I could do to have a far more concentrated tannin solution that was cheaper even than going out and buying tea, and it lasts a lot longer than what tea would as well. My brother is an aquarist. His hobby is looking after tropical fish in aquariums, and he told me that one of the things that an aquarist can do to look after their fish is create a tannin enriched solution that they can add to the tank that is beneficial for the fish. And one of the ways that you can do that, there's two ways, and it involves a special kind of leaf. You can either just drop these leaves into the aquariums and let the tannins leach out of it naturally, or you can boil the leaves and you can create a concentrated tannin solution that you can then dose the tank with. So after he told me about this process, I researched it a bit more and found that you could buy a packet of 10 or so of these giant leaves for just a couple of pounds, and through boiling them you're able to get a really concentrated tannin solution from them. You can use Indian Almond leaves or Giant Catappa leaves. I actually bought the Giant Catappa leaves just off of Amazon, and I'll put a link in the description so that you can see them on Amazon. But if you search Indian Almond leaves or Giant Catappa leaves, that sort of thing, then you'll find them either on Amazon or from tropical fish shops, that sort of thing. And when I received these leaves, I went straight away to boil them off to create my tannin solution, and I'll show you that process now. Right, I have here all the ingredients I need for the tannin solution. I have 3 of the leaves that will be boiling, a pan big enough for the leaves, and a jar of water. This is the jar I'll be keeping the solution in, so I've filled it with water, and that's how much water I'll put in the pan, because I don't want to put more water in the pan than will fit in the jar, otherwise I'll end up wasting half of the solution, and what I have in the jar won't be as concentrated with tannin as it could otherwise be. So we'll start by putting the water in the pan, and we'll bring that up to boiling point first. Right, that's been simmering now for about 20 minutes, and the water has gone a brownish colour. So I'd say it's ready now to take it off the heat and let it cool. Once it's cooled down, I'll strain it through some kitchen paper back into the jar, straining it for the purpose of removing any organic material from the water that could go mouldy if it's kept for any length of time. That's been left to sit now for 5 minutes to cool down. We're ready to pour it through the funnel, and it's just a lemonade bottle with some paper towel in the top of it. So hopefully this will work and I'm not going to end up spilling this everywhere. That would be bad. Just squeezing the leaves just to get any more moisture that's still in there out as well, to get all the tannin that we can in this. I had a little spill there, but we won't tell my wife about that. Again, just squeezing off the kitchen paper to get all the liquid out of there that we can. Any solids will be trapped in the kitchen paper. There you go, you can see the colour in the water, and that is loaded with tannin, which will be excellent for the ebonizing that I plan to do in the future. In that clip there, I boiled only 3 leaves. After thinking about it a bit more, I actually decided to just go for it and make a really concentrated solution, as I wanted to make sure that I was going to have a really black finish for my urn. So I went back with that solution that I already had, put it back in the pan, and added all of the leaves that were left and boiled them down for another half an hour. and that gave me this really dark solution as opposed to just the slightly coloured water that I had before. And this is what I ended up with, what I used to make my urn. So I'll show you now what happens with applying iron acetate to beech just on its own, and when you add this to it as well, just so you can see why it is that this is a beneficial thing to use. I have these two pieces of beech here. This is just a plain bit of beech. This one I've already treated once with the tannin solution. So what I'll do is I'll brush some iron acetate onto here and some onto here as well, and I'll leave them to sit for a while for the reaction to happen. It will be a lot slower than what it was with the oak, except for this one. This one will be a bit quicker, but you'll be able to see the difference in the shade that you get between using the tannin and when you don't. We'll check back in with them in a few minutes. Again, 5 minutes have passed now, and you can see there the difference in the depth of colour with having tannin and without adding additional tannin. And this is just with one coat. Again, if you want a deeper colour, you can add a few more coats as well. For the main body of my urn, I added a second coat. For the lid, I just used one. One seemed to be enough. But adding the tannin makes it almost as good as what the oak was, just on its own. You can see there with that one, it's more a bluish grey than a black compared to the oak. So if you have plans to use ebonizing in a project and you want to use this particular method as opposed to using ebonizing lacquer or a standard dye, then I'd recommend making your own concentrated tannin solution using the leaves that I used here. You can see clearly that it does help. It does have a benefit as far as ebonizing naturally. I prefer this method to using ebonizing lacquer. When I've seen videos of people who have used ebonizing lacquer, I haven't really liked how it didn't look as much like wood anymore as it does with this. With this, although it colours it, you can still see the pores and the grain of the wood. With ebonizing lacquer, sometimes you lose that and it tends to just look like it's had an artificial plasticky sort of finish to it. I prefer having the natural finish. Again, that just comes down to personal preference. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that you found it informative and that you've been able to take something from it that you can use yourself. As always, thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. If you're a subscriber, thank you for supporting me. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe so that you can check out my current videos and you'll also be informed of my future videos as well. Thanks very much.